Okay, Sports Card Strategy Show brought to you by nooffseason.com, sponsored by marketmoversapp.com. By Sports Card Investor, use the promo code NOOFFSEASON, all lowercase, to save 20% there. We want to give a shout out to Vanity Slabs. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON, all lowercase, to save 10% there. And of course, we always talk about Star Stock, where you can use the promo code NOOFFSEASON, all lowercase, to get a free $10. So, Murph, you said you wanted to hear about some of my recent sales. So I'm happy to walk
because
you
this is
through.
all about trying to make some money and having fun, Paul. So I think that the audience wants to hear about a couple of things and what you're doing to flip some cards in this, what is a rapidly moving business these days. It happens week to week, game to game. It's pretty quick. And it's interesting for me too, who doesn't have any modern day players. I don't own any of these cards. So it is interesting to find out what and how much these are moving. It's interesting to me. I hope it's interesting to the show audience.
Yeah, this is perfect. This is what I wanted to talk about today too, because I want to just kind of remind everybody. I think there's two unique things about our show, and one of them is what you just said, which is our ability to pick players. We started the show with the other one, which is, talking to guys like us who are just getting back into the hobby after 20, 30 some years. How do you get back in? How do you get started? What do you do with your old cards? So I think number one is player prospecting. Number two is what do you do with your old stuff? So it's like old stuff and new. I'm kind of at the point where I'm player prospecting. I've gone through all my old stuff. You've gone through all your old stuff, and you're going to move through all that. But we like to talk about player prospecting. So the uniqueness of our show right now is that we try to predict what's going to happen with certain players, buying them low and player prospecting, whose value is going to increase, and kind of using it like a stock market, like an active everyday stock market. So just a quick recap, some of the guys that I've been in on have included Desmond Bain, Tyrese Maxey. I've talked about Grayson Allen. I've been big on Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball. Those are more long-term guys. The Maxey, the Bain, and the Grayson Allen are more short-term flips. I'm not necessarily looking at holding those guys long-term. But I've sold. So I'll go through some of my recent sales. They include vintage cards. They include new cards that are flips. They kind of span across all sports. I've recently gone through and I've listed almost 200 of my cards on eBay, just as buy.
123 of those images on Instagram.
God, and not to derail us too much, but my Instagram account just got deleted by Instagram. So at No Offseason Cards is no longer, and now to follow me, you got to follow me at Sports Card Strategy.
Thank you, Instagram.
I'm rebuilding my account.
It's a great place to go. He's still going to make sales. He's still going to post cards, and he's got a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of cool things there. Mix of a little vintage NBA with some modern day NBA, soccer, as well as the NFL. So
here are the sales, and
so what do you got?
I'm gonna point out a couple things as we go through this. I recently sold a 1988 Fleer Magic Johnson All-Star card, which was graded SGC 7. I sold it for $30. And the thing about this is, everyone's probably thinking, well, the grading fee for SGC is $30. That's correct. Here's the thing, though. When you grade a card, there is a market value for that card that can't really be debated. There are comps for that card. And so a card like a SGC 7 or maybe a PSA 8 of that card, like a PSA 6 of that card rather, or an SGC 7 of that card, what's way too high to pay for that and what's way too low to pay for that. And so as I list cards on eBay, and I think as most people list cards on eBay, I'm going to shoot for maybe trying to make 10 to 20 to 25% over what I paid for that card, right? Including the grading fee. But that doesn't mean that I'm always going to get it. And as I try to move through my collection of cards, which at this point is up around 600 cards that I'm looking to sell, I need to sort of take things where I can get them. And a sports betting strategy for daily fantasy sports and for poker is something called variance. You have to understand variance. Basically what this means is you have to understand where you're right and where you're wrong. And you have to sort of you have to bet on yourself in that if you can be right 70 to 80% of the time, you have to take your lumps when you're wrong 20 to 30% of the time and play the long game. And so on some of these sales,
you're just going to be a loser. You can't hold a bunch of them because you need capital. You need to be able to go and buy some winners, and that's what you're doing. And I think that's, whether or not it's the stock market, poker, or in sports cards, you need capital to go out and buy the 80%, 70% winner that you've been able to this point. And that's what you're doing. I think that's actually a really good thing to talk about on this show is, hey, I lost some money on this, but now I have capital to go buy some winners because I am right 70% of the time based on your data that you have.
Yeah, and you're a stock market guy, so I know you understand this concept, and I think it's something that I'm just starting to wrap my head around myself, because sometimes I'll get down in the dumps about like, oh, I didn't make it, I just broke even on that card, or maybe I lost 3 to 5% on that card, but then I realize, okay, I bought at the same time I sold a Tyrese Maxey for $139. I sold a Desmond Bain, that same day for $70. I didn't even pay half as much for those cards.
Yeah,
and then I have to look at things also. I have to compartmentalize a little bit in that on the Magic card, that was a card that I pulled out of a full set where really there wasn't much cost to that card. That was if anything, I turned that waste from a set, which would have just sat there, into an experience where I took a risk. I said, hey, maybe this could get an 8 or a 9 or an 8.5 or a 9, 9.5 from SGC. Well, it only got a 7, right? So had that card got an 8.5 or a 9 or a 9.5, I definitely would have profited on that card. So
yep.
while I took
a
loss,
if you broke the set, then I'm assuming that on many of the other cards that I saw from your posting was, that's a really good set with a lot of really good players in their prime or rookies at that point. So you probably took a lot of 20-some really quality players, maybe even 20-some Hall of Famers. And overall, you're going to profit from that set. You just didn't from that card.
Thanks for watching and listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show. I'm Paul Hickey with NoOffSeason.com. We are brought to you by MarketMoversApp.com by Sports Card Investor. Be sure to use the promo code NOOFFSEASON, all lowercase, to save 20% at the best place to track the data of your entire collection, learn who to buy low and when to sell them high. Thanks for watching and listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and check out our new Facebook group. Do all of this by going to sportscardstrategy.com. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.